I am so honored to have a beautiful, beautiful womb priestess and teacher here with me today. Her name is Emmi Mutale, and she's an incredibly powerful healer doing some incredible work to raise consciousness on the planet and empower women. She's got an amazing podcast called the Sacred Feminine Power Podcast, which I've been on. It's amazing. And she's an intuitive healer and a energy medicine practitioner. She is incredible. It's so great to have you here, Emmi, and thank you for all the work you're doing on the planet.
Oh, thank you, Schamet. It's such a blessing and an honor to be part of this beautiful, powerful gathering of yours. And thank you also for the work that you do. It's wonderful to reconnect and have this chat with you.
Yeah, Emmy and I really connected when I was living in Sweden because we were in the same hemisphere and it was great. Now we're on opposite sides of the planet and I'm getting up early and she's staying up late. So it's so great that we can still connect in this way. That's true dedication for the sacred divine feminine, huh?
That it is, indeed.
Yeah, so I'm up really early, she's up really late, and we're making this work. So it's fantastic. We are truly dedicated to empowering women in the sacred divine feminine. So it's so great to have you here, Emmy. So my first question today is, what does leadership mean to you?
That's a big question. And instead of using some of the more traditional terms to define leadership, I'm going to describe it as having the courage to be a role model and a trailblazer in these times of change and transition, and to lead with integrity and to lead from the heart and the womb, and to be someone who's really truly walking the talk. And through her or his actions, showing what it means to lead a life of integrity, to lead a life that has deep meaning and purpose, life that is a life of service, whether that's service to a greater power, for example, the divine or the source or the great mother, however you want to call that, in service to nature or the environment or to animals, in service to human beings, women, girls, for example, or being in service to this incredible transformation that our planet is on at the moment, and supporting humanity as a collective to ascend and change and shift together with Mother Earth so that we are becoming what we truly are meant to be, who we truly are, and that we've just kind of forgotten about.
I love that answer. So great. It's a very multifaceted answer. Thank you so much. I agree with you 100%. Amazing times to be here doing what we're doing, that's for sure. And of course, I consider you a leader. That's why I've asked you to be on the summit. But do you consider yourself a leader?
I do, absolutely. Sometimes kicking and screaming, and sometimes with lots of fears and doubts and sense of worthlessness as well, for sure. But yes, I consider myself a leader, and that's the reason I really stepped onto this path of service. I've basically dedicated my life to serving the Great Mother, to bringing through ancient feminine wisdom and supporting women to re-remember the sacred feminine power, the ancient feminine wisdom that lives inside our cellular memory, inside our womb spaces, and to support women to heal the kinds of trauma and wounding that stop us from loving ourselves exactly the way we are, and to really truly step onto our paths as leaders, as New Earth leaders, so that we can share our gifts and speak our truths unapologetically. And in fact, a big part of my work is indeed about supporting women to become the leaders that they're meant to be. Women who feel that nudge, that calling to step into a bigger place of power, into a bigger place of visibility, and really truly become the kind of leaders that our world needs right now.
Yeah, and we need all hands on deck. One of the amazing leadership talks that I was editing last night until late. That's why I'm a bit tired this morning. But he was talking about how His name is Moses, and he has a child care business here, looking after children, which is a really important job. He's an incredible leader in our community. And he was talking about how we all need to step into our leadership and that there's not too many leaders. And I thought, wow, that's really new paradigm. If we all step into our leadership, imagine this world and what it could be in a new paradigm leadership capacity, right? And I thought, wow, it's so interesting. I never thought it about it like that. Like I always thought there were the leaders and then there were the followers, and then that's just the way it's supposed to be. But actually, when you start thinking about new paradigm leadership, we're figuring it all out. It's all new. I mean, what if we all stepped into our leadership? He thinks it'll make the world a much better place. And I thought, interesting. So, with what you're saying, absolutely, 100%. Imagine that. I mean, that is the
Mhm.
new earth. Mm, lo-
Absolutely. And
love it.
absolutely, I mean, the leadership can be leading ourselves to become
Mm,
better versions of ourselves on a daily basis, can be leading a family, can be leading a community or an organization, or it can be a more global kind of a leadership where you are having an impact on a bigger scale. But all of those levels of leadership, all of those aspects of leadership make a huge difference. And it has to start from within each one of us as individuals.
absolutely, 100%. And when we do that, we really start to change our kind of microcosmic world in which we're living in, that then starts to change the macrocosm, right? And creates a shift. And that's what we're doing. It's so exciting. And so, yeah, that leads into my next question. What does old paradigm leadership mean to you?
Well, we are really seeing the impact of old paradigm leadership globally right now. The systems and structures that have prioritized power over rather than power with or power through have really brought us into a situation where we as humanity have prioritized destruction, conquering, materialism, individualism, and really the senseless path of constant hoarding and wanting more and more and more, and becoming very self-centered in that process. And when I use the word self-centered, I mean it in the worst possible definition of that term, because there's nothing wrong in terms of being selfish and loving yourself and spreading your love through that angle. But when it's all about you and hoarding everything to yourself and wanting power over others, becoming greedy, becoming divisive, becoming competitive in that process, we see where it's led us to conflicts, wars, terrible man-made disasters, and I underline man-made in this case, and really just this polarized world that we're living in at the moment, which doesn't recognize to a large extent unity consciousness, that doesn't lead from the heart or from the womb, doesn't consider love, kindness, compassion the most important values, integrity not a biggie in the world that we're living in now. And what we're seeing now is literally the fruits of thousands of years of patriarchy and the leadership that is based on toxic and very, very immature masculine energy as well.
Yes, I know. Gosh, it's really so disheartening. And it's even reached into our community, the sacred divine feminine community. You know, I've experienced that recently with the summit, where I've really been able to see that this kind of competitiveness and these are my followers, these are my, this is, like all that. It's even in the sacred divine feminine community. And it's made me so sad to feel it just permeating into, even our turf kind of, I'm like, the sacred divine feminine is supposed to be collaborative, not competitive. And yeah, it really is very thick, like a fog, like a really thick fog right now. And that's why I'm
Mm.
doing this leadership summit. I was ready to go into my academic cocoon and do my master's in psychology. And that's really where I want to be right now, like just immersed in that. But this deeper calling was like, no, you have to do this leadership summit. It's really important and you have to do it right now. So I've taken a break from school so I can focus on this because that thick fog has got me concerned. So thank you, Emmi. Thank you. So well said. Whew, getting a little riled up now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're so
I
right. I mean, I think, sorry, go on.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. No, just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying there in terms of this competitiveness having been infiltrated into the divine feminine community as well. I think it's always been there because we have been birthed within patriarchy as well. And a lot of us have not been able to shake those patriarchal narratives and um, stories and beliefs from our consciousness. A lot of us are actually not even conscious of the fact that we are still very much and very often operating in a very patriarchal paradigm from very patriarchal narratives and beliefs. And that's, I mean, I call this really the sister wound, which is the result of patriarchy, where women are comparing and criticizing and judging and pushing each other down rather than lifting each other up. And this is what we've been living with and in for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And of course, it's still there. And the more of us are realizing that and starting to wake up to that, then we can start to work on ourselves to clear that wounding, heal it, remember how it used to be in the past, in the ancient times. And that's, again, as you said before, that's how we start to bring the transformation into our communities and then beyond that as well.
I love that you just said it was always there. It's true. You're right. It was always there. And I call it the sister wound too. And I talk about it in my Wounds to Wisdom Oracle deck that's just gone to print. You're going to love it. I'm going to have to send you a copy, I think. But I've got the
Yes.
sister wound in there. I've got the witch wound. I've got the betrayal wound, all the wounds. We've, it's all about the wounds and transforming them into wisdom and then into superpowers. And it is the woman's work that you and I are both doing and why we connected because we're aligned in our vision and the work we're doing on the planet. And yeah, it is. I think it has always been there. Maybe what's happened is I am noticing it more and more. It really feels like right now, just in this last year, that things have the fog has gotten thicker and everything is more intense. Are you feeling that way?
Yeah, for sure. The energy is very, very intense right now. And I do feel like the veils are thinning, that more and more people are waking up to what's actually happening behind the scenes and how blinded we have purposefully been for thousands of years. And I keep saying thousands of years because this is a long haul thing. It is not something that suddenly just crept up on us. We've been living, breathing, surviving in patriarchy now for thousands of years, and no wonder we still feel it so strongly. It's there in our cellular memory, it's there in our DNA. And to have the courage to actually look that in the eye, to acknowledge it, to validate it, and then to start to heal it, it's not always easy work, but it is so very needed. And one of the reasons why it is so bloody intense right now is because those who have been holding the strings behind the scenes, the powers that be, so to speak, realize that the awakening is taking place on a massive scale. And more of us are saying no to the way things have been. And they're literally shaking in their pants and they're doing everything they can to get us to shut up, to get us to feel the fear and the shame and the guilt and the worthlessness all over again. They're trying to shut us up in a big, big way. And
Yeah,
it's
I
just not
know.
going
I just had my two ads canceled on Facebook and I my ad account was frozen and I thought they were going to delete me from Facebook. Like it was so intense. I had to go into battle with Facebook for 3 days over it. And yeah, it was because I put that the summit was more than a summit, it's a movement. And
to.
so now it's politically flagged. I am flagged now on Facebook because I am starting a movement. Like, I was like, oh, they're really scared of a female empowered movement, aren't they? Well, this movement started a long time ago and we're not going to stop. You can't
No.
stop you can't keep a good, strong woman down, that's for sure. And just to add to what you were saying about the sister wound, like my editor, she's been amazing. Well, I have three editors, but one in particular editor, she says, "Oh gosh, editing your work has been such a healing experience for me. I'm stepping into my sacred sisterhood and da 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 da." And she's just had this whole transformative experience through editing my work, and she's so grateful. And she came over to play Monopoly, and some of that patriarchal stuff came up. And I said, "Oh, sister wound stuff's coming up." She goes, "Oh, wow. I was really getting competitive there. That's my sister wound. Nope, I'm entering into sacred divine feminine sisterhood." And then she like just shifted her whole energy. So she now has a languaging around what's happening, and now she can see it. And now her and I can talk about it, and I don't get upset when she does that. She's been doing it for years, but now she's super aware of it. And she's like, "Oh, wow, that's interesting." So, what you're saying is correct. When we become aware of these dynamics and patterns, then we can go reset. And that's what she did. Mindset reset.
Beautiful.
It
Yeah.
was beautiful. I mean, Monopoly tends to kind of bring all that competition up anyways, but yeah, it was really cool. But anyways, back to the questions. That was a great segue though. So, and what does new paradigm leadership mean to you?
Hmm. Yeah, I've kind of started to answer that in a way already. But for me, new paradigm leadership is in many ways rooted in the ancient ways, in the values and principles of the ancient ways where women were revered as the creators of new life, as these beautifully intuitive beings connected to Mother Earth, to nature, to celestial beings and bodies, and seen as leaders because of their innate gifts and capacities. And in a new paradigm leadership, both women and men are recognized for their unique gifts and skills. And for me, new paradigm leadership is very much founded on heart and womb-centered leadership. So really focusing foundationally on qualities such as love, compassion, and kindness. Forgiveness is another huge one as well. And again, integrity, really doing the right thing when nobody is watching, really basing all of your actions on what is truly right, what doesn't harm anyone, what benefits the highest good of humanity and all living beings on our planet, and recognizing that we are all human beings. We carry the shadow side within ourselves as well, recognizing that, allowing that to become a part of you so that it's not something that pulls you into the darkness, although I could define darkness in many, many ways. But in this case, I'm talking about darkness as the more evil side of humans that also it coexists with all the beauty that we carry as well. And realizing that leadership comes with huge leadership, with huge responsibility as well. Responsibility for the future of our planet, responsibility for all living beings with whom we exist on this planet, and responsibility for the next 7 generations and way beyond that as well. So really adopting a mindset that I am not doing this work for myself alone or for my children or the women around me. I'm doing this work for the future humans who will be here, hopefully, will be here hundreds, thousands of years from now, and recognizing that our planet is precious, a beautiful, living, breathing organism herself who is on her own ascension journey. That we really truly are here to support and steward into being as well.
Yeah, and that we're the ambassadors. Yeah, instead of the owners. I like ambassadors much better.
Hmm. That's
Beautiful.
a
Love
beautiful
that.
word. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, great. Thank you. And when you hear the words awaken the new feminine paradigm, what emerges for you?
Hmm. For me, what emerges from that question is really the idea that it is us women who are ushering the new earth into being. We are the leaders in this. Of course, we do it with the support of the men. It's not about competition or thinking that we're better than men, not at all. But we really are the ones who have been suppressed and silenced for so long. And we are reawakening to our innate power, to our innate leadership gifts and qualities. And really, it is our time to step into that bigger place of power around that. And to remember that, as I mentioned before, in the ancient times, we were revered as leaders. We were the first shamans. We were the ones that were consulted within communities and tribes when there were troubles or conflicts. And we were also the oracles, the ones who brought through wisdom through our bodies for everyone to benefit from. So within this divine feminine paradigm, our innate leadership capacities and skills are organically, naturally recognized and validated. And our role as the ambassadors or the stewardesses or the bridges into this new earth paradigm are recognized. And we also innately understand that creation in and of itself is a feminine principle. All life comes from the womb. And although that has been very purposefully, very systematically belittled and turned into a very complex, kind of a very confusing kind of an equation, especially in the so-called woke world of today, it is the ultimate truth. Life comes from the womb, and women are the creators of that new life. Of course, men play a part in that. Absolutely. Men provide the seed for that. And then men can provide a sacred, safe space within which the woman can nurture and nourish new life. But the principle remains that all life comes from the womb. And we need to remember this. We need to embody this, both men and women, at a very, very deep level. And
Beautiful.
to remember that this comes with such a huge responsibility as well.
It does. Yeah. Thank you. That's so beautifully said. Mm. Yeah, the whole woke thing. Now that's being kind of attacked and torn down and shamed. And yeah, it is interesting how patriarchy is trying to hang on as much as it can. And that is the patriarchal energy, right? To tear down, to belittle, to gaslight, to but we have to keep remembering our power. Thank you, Emmi, for the work you do.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so power, the word power, what does that mean to you?
Hmm. Well, power essentially to me is recognizing our own divinity, recognizing that we are all, as human beings, being given this incredible gift of life and to have these expansive, boundless spirits in these beautiful, powerful bodies of ours. And that we are here for a specific meaning and a specific purpose. And in this new paradigm of leadership, power is not about having power over someone or something, whether that's power over another human being, power over an animal, or power over nature, for example. We've done a darn good job of thinking that we are like at the top of the food chain on this planet of ours, and that we have that the earth is here just for our use and recreational or destructive abuse. No, it's about power with or power through. Power with others. So understanding that we are all energy, we are all connected, and we are more and more moving towards unity consciousness. The recognition that ultimately, because we are all energy, because we are all existing on this beautiful planet of ours, we are all one. We are all sacred. And we have an incredible connection with each other because of this field of consciousness, this matrix that we are living within as well. And we are very privileged as human beings to have this heightened level of awareness and consciousness to understand that we are channels. We are channels for the divine. We are here to bring through the great mother's ways, the great mother's wisdom, the source's wisdom, the divinity's wisdom and ways of being. And it is an incredible privilege, and it is also a huge responsibility. And when we realize how powerful we truly are, our bodies have incredible capacities to heal ourselves. We have this incredible mind that it can expand beyond our bodies, beyond this planet, beyond universes, multiverses, universes, however you want to call that. And our power is infinite. And we're only just starting to remember that, to relearn that we truly do manifest our lives. We truly do manifest our own individual realities, but also the collective reality.
Yeah.
And the work starts within ourselves, within every single individual. And when we truly take ownership of the fact that, wow, I truly create my world, I truly create my life through my words, through my actions, we start to realize that this new earth, this new paradigm that we're talking about, it's not just a concept. It is a reality that is just around the corner. And when we accept that power and we treat that power with respect and humility and integrity, we are going to create that new earth. In many ways, it's already here, but we're
It's
going to
already
make it more.
happening. That's right. It's already happening. Yeah, I had a powerful experience recently when the fires were going on in LA. Because I grew up in California and a lot of my friends are in LA, and it hit me really hard. And so I started praying and doing rain dances every day. And I created a circle, a rain dance for California online event and circle, and got everyone to start doing a rain dance and prayers that whole week. And the morning of our rain dance circle, it rained. And it not only rained in California, and they hadn't had a drop of rain for months, but it also rained in New Zealand. And it was really powerful. And I just sat there on the porch and I cried because of the remembrance of our power, our collective power, when we all come together, how we can really create and manifest, not just our desires and what we want. I mean, I've been doing that for 30 years. I've got pretty much everything I want, which is amazing. I feel so blessed. But I've manifested it. I've consciously created my dream home, my partner, my everything, right? And it's been powerful to witness that in my own reality. But then when you bring people together and then you can consciously create, rain. Then we had mudslides, which was another problem, but it put the fires out. That's the main thing. And it spoke volumes to me about our capacity when we can all unite and get out of that competitive energy and come together, and wow, amazing things happen. So thank you so much. And, just about the power over energy. I've got two new paradigm teenagers now because they're, almost 18 and 13 years old. And we told our son, our oldest, you can't have a motorbike because we're just worried about him. We don't want him to get hurt. And but it was a very power over energy. You can't have one, right? Well, he's a manifester. So he ended up manifesting four. So now there's four of them in our garage, and they've been given to him, and he's been fixing them up. And, you can't stop that kid. I mean, he's a new paradigm manifester. And and so we've had to surrender. Like the power over is not working at all. And so it's like, then how can we inspire him to be safe and to be responsible? And at best, really, that is what we have. We can consciously create, but we cannot have power over other people, but we can inspire. That's really, I think, what it comes down to is inspiring. I'm learning that. My teenagers are teaching me the new paradigm way of doing things for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, just
so
visualizing him safe and happy on his bikes and having these incredible experiences and travels and journeys.
absolutely. Now we're just really getting into it. And it's like he's got a dirt bike now. And it's like, oh, it's so much fun. And he is being safe and he is wearing his helmet and he's doing all the things that he's supposed to do to be safe. So that's,
Mm.
that's working. Oh, it's a bit of fun, actually. We've gotten into it now. We've surrendered and we're going with the flow. And what else can you do?
Mm.
If you try to hang on, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're trying to hang on. And that's kind of a disempowered place to be because, you either go with the water flow and you flow with it, or you try to fight it and then be miserable along the journey. So, who are your favorite leaders that inspire you and light you up?
There's quite a few, but that ones that immediately came to mind right now would be Dr. Zach Bush, who's doing incredible work inspiring people to truly look after the environment and to remember how powerfully healing our bodies are, and to really look into so-called alternative healing modalities and kind of really scrap the thinking behind the more Western medical allopathic way. And he is actually trained in that himself, but he's kind of done a complete 180-degree turn towards a very, very different kind of a way of treating patients and living his life as well. Very inspiring speaker and does some incredible, incredible work in different parts of the world. So he would definitely be one. Another one whom I've been watching and listening to a lot of late, especially is Greg Braden. Another
Mm.
trailblazer, brings through some very innovative, out of the box ideas and has really truly done the work in terms of studying ancient texts and bringing through the wisdom from those ancient texts into the modern context as well, and really puts everything he says in a really beautifully simple yet powerful way, and talks about this ancient battle between the good and evil that is still being played out on our planet. And that's why so many of us are waking up and stepping into bigger leadership roles, because we are needed on the side of the good. And then I, of course, do have to bring in a female leader, at least one female leader as well. So, one woman who I listen to a lot and who really inspires me with her courage, her determination, and her wise words is Vandana Shiva, an Indian activist who is not afraid to take on the big boys, who's not afraid to really truly speak her truth, and is sharing incredibly important, significant wisdom all around the world as well. And what I'm really glad about is getting more and more traction and more people following her and listening to her message as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, about Greg Braden, I met him and um him
Oh,
and
lucky you.
his I know, I feel very blessed. It was on a Hay House Writers workshop. Very lucky me. I actually got to go on a cruise with all of the Hay House people, and it was phenomenal. Met, many Hay House speakers, authors, Wayne Dwyer, and he's amazing too. Oh gosh, he was such a nice guy. But Greg, him and his girlfriend and I ended up meeting in town and going through this Egyptian exhibit, and he talked about all the different Egyptian. He is a wellspring of knowledge and information, and one of the smartest people I have met. Like, he is phenomenal, and he honors and loves the goddess. The way that he was treating his girlfriend. I was like, oh, he is lovely. And she was lovely. And yeah, really nice people. But I was so blown away by how much he knew about the ancient Egyptians because I'm really into Egyptology, and I know that I was there, lived there in past lives, many past lives in Egypt, and so it was. I on one hand I feel really lucky, but on another level I'm like it was meant to be. Like it was this
Mm.
soul aligned moment in time. And yeah, I love him too. Oh, I just want to vouch for him and say he's phenomenal. I love his work. I love that you mentioned him. And so you kind of touched upon this already, but what are the qualities in leadership that you admire the most?
Mm. Well, being heart and womb centered are absolutely at the top of my list. Integrity has always been one of my biggest values and needs to be there for every single leader in a big, big way. Humility, compassion, ability to forgive, and also recognizing that not a single one of us has all the answers. So that humility, that beginner's mind, that learner's mind, that we can really truly learn from each other and lead together. Again, not the power over, but power with. So we're doing this together. We're doing this jointly, and that takes a very different kind of leadership quality than what we've been used to again within the patriarchal system. Those would probably be the biggest ones. Courage, of course, is a huge one as well. Um, and there's one that I'm thinking of that's not quite coming through right now, but is hugely important as well. Um, well, the ability to learn to balance masculine and feminine energy within yourself so that you operate from a more harmonious space and know how to work with the beautiful qualities of the masculine and the beautiful qualities of the feminine in a way that allows these qualities to make love to each other, to co-create, to coexist in a way that is bringing through harmony within yourself, but also to the world outside of you.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to edit this, but there's something beeping. Oh, it stopped. Is that your thing beeping or something on my end?
I don't hear beeping, but there is some sort of a night bird outside. Maybe you're picking up on that, and it's making like a beep, beep,
Yeah. Oh, is
kind
that
of
a bird?
the bird.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's a bird. Okay. I've got the biggest question of all for you. If you were made leader of the world, what would you do? How would you start changing things? What would be your plan?
Oh my goodness
I
me.
know it's a really big question, but have fun with it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, one of the first things I probably would do would be to really start changing the educational system and include things like inner awareness, meditation, mindfulness, body-based practices. Doesn't matter what it is, from karate to yoga to qigong or athletics. It doesn't matter, but just some body-based practices that are there on a daily basis that support people to remember the beauty and the power of their bodies. And the healing power of their bodies, especially. So bring into all of that educational system the idea of our body's innate capacity to heal themselves, the no need for all these crazy pills and injections and vaccinations that they are bombarding us with. But that is really meant to numb us and to create sickness and illness and disease within our bodies. So completely start to shift that thinking, that paradigm, that system from the inside out, and start to give people back their power. So for women, essentially, teaching them from a very, very early age about the power and wisdom of their wombs, reconnecting them with that wisdom. And for boys, for men to remember that we all live within womb consciousness. We all have come from the womb, and we all have that innate remembrance of that time inside the womb space inside of us as well. Because when you start to connect with that, that in itself is going to start a massive transformation within your consciousness and your awareness, and probably physically inside your body as well. So really, what we're already seeing in many ways is the collapsing of the systems and structures that we have kind of been born into and been made to trust. Those are already collapsing and crumbling. So what is it that we are wanting to birth from the ashes of those systems? Um, a structure and system that recognizes the sacredness of all living beings on our planet, that also recognizes that there are beings on our planet that we may or may not be able to see. There's the woo-woo part that's coming through strongly, but also recognizing that we are all divinely guided. We all have angelic guides, we have dragon guides, we are all able to receive this guidance, this wisdom from other dimensions, from other beings that, again, we may or may not be able to see. And starting to turn that into the normal rather than the suspicious and the weird and the woo-woo kind of stuff. And yeah, returning our medical system to the beautiful natural herbal remedies and the homeopathic remedies is exactly what it is founded on, and getting rid of all that horrible petroleum based stuff that they're feeding us on a daily basis. You called yourself an idealist. I think I might be one as well. But these are really the building blocks of the new world. We need to kind of allow what is there now to collapse and crumble, because it is so fraught with corruption and fraudulence and this materialistic thinking around greed and fame and power, the toxic kind of power, that we can't go forward with that as humanity. And our planet cannot sustain that for very much longer either. So really this idea of returning to what I would call the mother world, returning to a mother world where we are truly coexisting with each other as humans, but also humans with other living beings on our planet. And the remembrance that Mother Earth herself is a living, breathing being whom we need to revere and honor and respect at a very deep level. That's a beginning.
Beautiful. I just had this like the visuals that were playing through my mind as you was speaking is freeing everyone from the matrix.
Yep. You can put it that way.
I remember when I saw that movie, it was revolutionary. I was living in Portland at the time and went and saw that, and it just it blew everyone's mind. You know, it was such a powerful, transformative movie that reflected so much truth. And it was actually a woman that wrote that screenplay. It was the
That's
two brothers that took her work and changed it and made it their own. But really, I feel like she was the visionary behind that. She called it the third eye. So not only am I having flashbacks of the Matrix right now, but also a movie that I just recently watched called Mickey 17. Really, really great film. At first I was like, and then by the middle of it, I was really immersed. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of symbolic messaging in the movie. And he signs up to work for his government, do his part. And he said, yeah, I've read all the paperwork, but of course he didn't because he was a young kid. And he's like, reminds me, us, both my husband and I were like, oh, he kind of reminds us of our son. And he goes up, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it is so much about patriarchy and the new earth and the new world and the new paradigm. And there's a lot of messaging in there and a lot of meaning. And what I love about movies like that, like The Matrix and Mickey 17, and there's others as well, is that they are the storytellers, they're the storytellers that are weaving in these messages. And I love that you can't stop the storytellers from telling their stories. And you get that through comedy and movies, theater, and music, all the arts. So, yeah, yeah, everyone that's listening, see Mickey 17. It's so good. I loved it. There's a lot in it, and it's a bit of fun too. So I love movies, is you can put some really deep messaging in there and then also make it fun and make it beautiful. And yeah, I just love movies and books and the theater and music. I love the arts. But yeah, thank you for that, Emmy. What a great thing to ponder, to think about, and to deepen into. Thank you so much. And so do you have any last and final words of wisdom?
Hmm. Maybe just to remind everybody once more of their own divinity and their power, and to recognize also the fact that what's happening right now can feel really scary as well, because we don't really know what's coming in the future. And as I said, all these systems and structures that we've grown up trusting and believing in are literally crumbling in front of our very eyes. So there is an element of uncertainty, there is an element of not knowing, there is an element of fear there for sure as well. But the more that we can trust our innate knowing, our innate wisdom, whether you consider that wisdom to come from your womb space, as I would, or from your heart space, or from God or source or great mother, it doesn't matter. Trusting that and allowing that to guide you on your journey, no matter what, the obstacles that you are facing will become smaller and smaller and smaller. And again, the more of us have the courage to do the inner work, the inner healing work that is needed so badly right now, so that we can truly step into our power as leaders. And again, it could be leaders of ourselves, our communities, our families, organizations, or a more global leadership role. It doesn't matter. Have the courage to do the inner work and step onto that path of leadership so that you play your role in the changes that are taking place right now. You play your role in the creation and the birthing of the new paradigm leadership, but also the new paradigm earth, or the new earth that is indeed very much on its way already.
Thank you. Thank you, Emmy. Beautiful. I'm so glad that you addressed that. I mean, I can sit here and like laugh about it all, but there are moments, there are waves of fear that wells up inside of me as well. And when we come together in community as well and with like-minded people and support each other, it really helps. So if you're listening right now, and you need a community, you now have a huge community of new thought leaders that have their own communities as well. So we all have got our own spiritual communities as well that you can tap into. There's groups, there's different ways of connecting in. So make sure you do connect with like-minded people, because there's a thing called spiritual amnesia, and it's a very real thing, and it affects all of us. Even the wisest, most masterful teachers get spiritual amnesia, and it's important to keep reminding each other so that we can stay awake through these dark times. And so, Emmy, you have a free gift for everyone as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the free gift is a an activation called "You Are a Miracle," and this is a kind of like a guided meditation that I received as a channeling a few years ago, and it comes from the crone, the wise old woman, and it essentially just reminds you of your divinity, of the fact that you are a freaking miracle. The fact that you are here is a miracle, and that you are here for a purpose and a meaning. And never ever forget that.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder. No matter how dark it gets, no matter what happens in the world, we all chose to be here right now. We are here for a reason and many reasons, and it's an incredible, incredible blessing to be here at this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your wisdom, your time, your, I just love hearing everyone's perspective about leadership. So that was so beautiful. I'm so grateful for you staying up late and being here with me.
Oh, bless you, Schamet. Thank you for inviting me and getting up so early to chat with me and for doing all the beautiful work that you're doing. Bless you.
Thank you. Bless you.